Hello there, guys, and welcome back to Bright Founders Talk from Temi, an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. As you can see, guys, we've got a new guest with us today, Evyatar Shoresh from the WellyBox. He's the co-founder there. Hello there, Evyatar. Tell me a little bit more about you. Correct to everyone your name for me. We just had a quick conversation that it's quite a rare name as well. So just pronounce your name correctly for me right at the beginning. And just tell me a little bit about you, who you are.
Okay, so first, my name is Evyatar. It's not a very common name even in Israel. It's from the Bible. He was the priest of King David. It's not something you have to feel bad about yourself if you don't know how to pronounce it. You can just call my mom and complain. It's okay. So I'm an Israeli. I've been living here all my life. I was born in Jerusalem and now I live in Tel Aviv. And I've been doing startups and internet and entrepreneurship for the last 15 years. Established few companies together with my partner. We've been working together since the beginning. So it's been like kind of second marriage. His name is Nadav. He lives now in Copenhagen, in Denmark. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing mainly internet startups, things around EdTech, Chrome extensions, shopping comparisons. And today we are doing solutions for SMBs. We are quite familiar and have passion around product, marketing, messaging, all this stuff, like being in a big show, not like the old style of doing sales and talking to specific people in the organization, but more about putting your stuff out, and if you're good, people like it, and they hook to the product, to the solution. This is something which we really like.
So tell me a little bit more about WellyBox. How would you explain what is it you do at WellyBox in around a couple of sentences? How do you explain it?
So what we do today is a virtual AI assistant helping small businesses organize their financial documents. So if you need to file tax report, VAT refund report, or expenses report, and you need to send all the documents, first you need to discover them, find them, and before you send them to your bookkeeper, accountant, customer, whoever you send them to. And people, they don't like this job. They see it as chore. And second, they always have a feeling they are missing stuff. We didn't send some documents and miss some money. So actually, we had this issue on our previous company, which we sold to a very big firm here in Israel called Source. We were spending so much time chasing after documents like receipts and invoices instead of writing code and doing marketing. And we said, no way, it cannot be solved with technology. So actually at the beginning, we write a product internally for ourselves. And after we sold the company, we started showing it to a few friends and they started using it. And then we said, maybe we found our next startup. So this is how it began.
And tell me a little bit more about that. So 2019 is when the journey began. Probably started a little bit before that, the idea, the brainstorming before. But tell me, what did it look like right at the beginning? What was your MVP, your original MVP?
So it's a nice story. What we are doing today was the first idea we had, actually. But after a few months, we thought that maybe it's not a good enough idea. Uh-huh. So we said, maybe we need to spin off. Fast forward, we spin back. And today we are doing what we started with. But there was like 6 or maybe even 9 months, which we kind of changed the idea. Mm-hmm. We said we can find the receipts, let's say in your email and folders, but we can use them for reimbursing people for things they can get money for, especially healthcare in the United States. So we are in Israel. Obviously, we don't know much about reimbursement in healthcare in the United States, except that we had few friends which said that it was a very big market and very big issue. So we traveled January 2020, right before the COVID started. We went to East Coast. It was lousy weather. We were sitting in doctors' practices and offices, showing them their idea. And after traveling in the States and spending a lot of money on traveling, we came back to Israel and we said, it's not a good idea after all. So we probably need to go back to our original idea, which was like solving our own issue and eating our own dog food. We are not Americans. We know nothing about healthcare and reimbursement, but we do know a lot about filing VAT reports. We do it every month here in Israel, and we are losing money every time we are doing so. So we came back to the original idea and started the company around it.
Was it kind of the realization when you came back that, okay, actually, no, we don't understand this. This is a different world to us. And how difficult was that for you to accept after putting all that work in? Was it difficult not to go with it? Was it difficult to pivot back to what you had?
Actually, my feeling is always work with the market, not falling in love too much into ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be totally mechanic, because it's, doing a startup, there is something romantic about it. You need to be a little bit stupid. But end of the day, if you put it in the hands, we put a solution in the hands of American doctors. They liked it, but they didn't pay us anything.
Uh-huh.
But once we went with the product we are doing today, and the first versions were really, really lousy. Nothing was working. But few people here in Israel, the first one is a lawyer. I remember his name. He was the first one using it, and he paid us. He called and he said, I want to pay you. Here's my credit card. So it was a good sign. Obviously, it can be anecdotal, and he was the only one who ever going to pay for it. But luckily, this wasn't the case. So if you put it out and people like it and you get some traction, it's not like, people talk about product market fit a lot, which I highly agree, but I don't think it's a Boolean concept. It's not like it's totally working or totally not.
Mm-hmm.
But some ideas, actually, most of them are totally not working. And you put it out and nothing happens. And this is, if you're doing it for a few months, it's probably a sign you need to move on or to spin or do something. But if you put it out there and people start using it and start sending you feedbacks, and they are willing to, they understand it's a beta or initial product and you're a new startup and still they like it, and they are becoming like your ambassadors in their way, telling their friends, it's a good sign.
Tell me a little bit more about your partnership with your partners. So you said you've been with him a long time. It's like a second marriage. It has its ups and downs for sure. But now your partner, you said, is in Copenhagen. How difficult is that to keep a great relationship, business relationship thriving when you're in different parts of the world? We're all used to remote working now, but still it's a different level when you're co-founders of a company. Tell me, how do you do that and what are the challenges?
First of all, just like marriage, which I mentioned and you recall now, it's challenging and it's something you need to work on. Luckily, with my partner, he was thinking about moving abroad for many years, and he didn't do it because he was very committed to the company and to our joint venture. And the time he left, it was during the COVID.
Uh-huh.
And at the beginning, we were working on remotely, and we didn't meet each other. even though we were 500 meters between each other because all the lockdowns. So we didn't meet. And we saw it was working for us. And we said there is not such a big difference. And it's working. One thing I think that might be significant is time zone differences. I think if he would have moved to West Coast US, it might have been different. But Copenhagen is 1 hour from here in terms of the clock, so it's okay. Regarding relationship, I think it's all about people. There is no magic formula for that. Some people you like and some people you don't. And good advice, which I heard from my grandmother: spend time with people you like, because life is short.
Yes, very, very true. Very true. My grandma is exactly the same. Tell me a little bit more about, in regards to your journey, this is not your first time being a founder. Tell me,
right.
What have you learned over all of these years that you've been building companies? What have you learned, and what is the most valuable bit of information? Because the people listening to this, there's a lot of people about to start up their own startup, or it's people who are just on their early stages. So what could you share with them for them to be able to make their company more successful?
I think you need to have a clear path, not necessarily to exit. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Although if this is your goal, if you're building a company to make an exit, it's a good thing to have some general idea how it's going to happen. But most important is to have clear understanding of what you're trying to do right now. Let's say in the next 3 months, 6 months, until the end of the year. I think this is most important. Second is that you need to put a lot of thinking on team and processes. And many people think that when you have small teams, it's not that significant. And maybe it's true if you are 2 or 3 people, maybe it's true. But if you're growing to 4, 5, even 6 people, you need to have understanding of the workflow inside the organization, who is doing what's the goal of each person. I think this is also creating happiness. If someone understands what's his personal goals and not everybody's doing, there is a saying in startups, everybody's doing everything right now in the startup. I think it's a very bad practice. It's romantic, but in this case, badly romantic. And I think I'm the CEO of the company, and I think that's my number one goal, to see that everybody understands his goal. And it's not like I'm superior on them. Just that's my task. My task is to understand what everybody is doing, and we have the right people in the right place. And if we are missing people, we need to sometimes replace people. This is very, very important.
Tell me a little bit more about this. So over the last years of you building companies, last years you've been a founder, CEO, what has changed in being an entrepreneur? Has there been anything that has changed? For example, now a lot of people talk about mental health and the awareness around it. A lot of people talk about work-life balance. You don't have to work these 14-hour days. What has been your experience from your first venture to what you're doing now, and how it's changed?
I think mental health and awareness is something that changed in the world, not just in the startup space. At the end of the company that we sold, it was quite challenging. And I started practicing, doing treatments and practicing Buddhism. I don't see it as like a new age activity or anything like that. I think it's more like sport, keeping your body health. This is useful in keeping your mentality in good place. So I think it might have changed a bit. It also related to experience that you have after many years. I highly advise new entrepreneurs, first-timers, to keep themselves in good shape, physically and mentally. It's very, very important. It needs not to take all your time. The startup, it won't be efficient, and I don't like the word balance so much. I think it's more about efficiency,
Integration.
and it also helps you keep good. I was talking about relations with other people. I think people who worked with me know that I highly evaluate personal relations. Not all people do that. I think happiness is a very good and important goal. You need to be happy.
Tell me, in regards to your understanding of what is a good CEO, what is a bad CEO? Explain to me what is a good CEO and a bad CEO in your understanding.
So as CEO purpose is quite simple. You need to set goals, build a team, and make sure the company has the resources to fulfill the goals. That's it. If it's funding or the team or whatever, partnerships, whatever, to make things happen. That's it.
How important is, you said though that you were very serious about the human parts of it, the relations part of people. How important is that part as a CEO? Can you be a successful CEO and have a successful startup if you don't really have great relations with people that are working for you?
Of course. Steve Jobs was probably not a very nice person. But
the world has developed since then.
Let's talk about the word success for a second, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on your personal goals. If your personal goals is just money, so you can be a nice person or a pleasant person, empowering person or not. You can succeed. I think that you live only once, and being happy and being in good relations with people you like, and you spend double-digit hours a day with them, for me, it's a goal. So I put some effort in this direction as well, and not just about the exit and how much money I'm going to make. But you can be, there are many unpleasant. It's not about not being demanding. You can be demanding and even sometimes aggressive.
And it was still
work. It still work, because you see the people, you don't look at them as resources, you try to empower them. And for me, many of the people I'm working with are my friends.
Let's talk a little bit more about WellyBox. Firstly, where did the name come from, WellyBox?
I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, we were trying to spin off to the wellness industry. And after that, we were getting compliance certificate from Google regarding accessing people's inboxes in order to file receipts. So it was on that brand. So changing it became an issue we need to talk with Google. So we left the name, but it's okay. People like it. They call it Welly, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And maybe after I'm going to be to pass the 50 million ARR, maybe I'm going to change the name. Maybe.
Nice.
And you can make another interview with me after that.
Tell me a little bit more about this year. So we're in September now. Are you happy with this year's success so far?
Yes, very much.
Cool. Tell me about it.
Very much. First of all, our goal was to get to product market fit. We had major issues with technology. And actually what gave us a huge boost was the emerging AI technology. We partnered with OpenAI long before they opened the ChatGPT, when it was just a server-to-server API integration. And it really made huge change for us. We're able to get, end of the day, we are an information product. We can be very beautiful and use amazing user experience, but if we don't find your expenses, it's not useful. And in order to do that, we need a lot of technology. We are very, very lucky timing is everything. And if OpenAI would had this breakthrough, let's say not in 2023, but in 2026, maybe I would spin off to another idea, maybe, because the technology is very, very challenging. But now it's becoming possible to give, there are companies doing deep AI and selling for big companies, charging, tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And we are serving small businesses. And if I need to pay a lot for technology, I won't be able to charge small businesses. In a way, we are enabling technology which was accessed only by very big companies to small businesses. This is also what we do. And with OpenAI, it became possible cost-wise, and also the technology is very, very helpful for us in order to deliver great product.
Tell me.
So it was a great year. It was really a great year.
Good. In regards to the future, obviously, like the likes of ChatGPT, they've been out. I think they've really been going. Everyone's known for it for about maybe a year now. I can't remember exactly when it came out, and it's huge hype around it, and we all know how much it helps. Where do you think the industry is going, and what kind of technologies do you foresee which will be able to help you at WellyBox over the next few years?
I know there is a very large variety of use cases. The most common one is content generation, which started with text, and now people are doing images and videos and other stuff. I think it's exciting, but I don't know much about it. The family of use cases we are using is around document analysis. At the beginning, we were doing it with people. People were going over documents and trying to figure out what's there. Like all industries, like bookkeepers in offices, people doing manual job. Now it's becoming accessible to do this work automatically. The ability to make deep analysis and also analyzing not just the raw data, but also the context of the document. A simple example is classifying a document to the right tax category, which is not something in the document, but you need to understand. And this is something AI can definitely do down the road. I think it's very relevant also for legal documents. We are more in the back office, but legal is obviously very relevant for this use case as well. Take document, see what's there, understand, find pitfalls, see is it compliant, is it not compliant with regulations, which also change very fast now. Governments are taking out new regulations every week because it's becoming very easy, and the technology is chasing after that. So I think that we're going to see a lot of automation on back office services. Everything around accounting, legal, is going to really change in the next 5 or 7 years.
In regards to your experience and everything that you've done, WellyBox, for those listeners listening and they want to take your advice and your success, is there one thing, if you were to go back and do it all again, right from the beginning, and become the first-time startup founder again, what would you tell yourself as a piece of advice which you only know now, which you didn't know then?
Meditation, very important. Everything around mental health and physical health, I think is very important. And also setting goals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Evyatar, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great to speak to you. And I wish you and WellyBox all the best in the future. And then once you get past that 50 million mark, maybe we'll speak to you again with a different name, as we said. Cool. Thank you very much.